10 on the periodic review. Which two characteristics are associated with metals? Again, if you didn't know this, you would pick a metal and a nonmetal, go to table S, look up their ionization energy and electronegativity. You will see metals have low ionization energies because they want to get rid of electrons, and that's what ionization energy is. It's the amount of energy to remove an electron. And they're going to have low electronegativity, low attraction for electrons. All right, number 11, which element is most chemically similar to chlorine? Remember, it's got to be in the same group, so that would be fluorine. Question 12, which group of circles, when considered in order from top to bottom, best describes the relative sizes of lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium? If you did not already know that atomic radius increases as you go down a group because you're adding a shell, then you need to go to table S and actually look up the atomic radius of these four elements. And you would see that it goes from smaller to larger. Number 13 at STP, which element is brittle and not a conductor of electricity? This is a characteristic of non-metals. So then you can see that I've labeled the four types of elements. 1, sulfur is a nonmetal. Both 2 and 3, potassium and sodium, are metals, and argon is a noble gas. So there is a clear winner here. Question 14, an atom of argon, which is a gas, rarely bonds to an atom of another element. Why? All of our noble gases already have 8 valence electrons. Their electron configurations all end in the number 8. 15, the elements on the periodic table, we've already went over this, are arranged in order of increasing atomic number. 16, which element is classified as a nonmetal? Beryllium and aluminum are both metals. Silicon is a metalloid. The only nonmetal there is chlorine. 17, solid samples of the element phosphorus can be white, black, or red in color. The variations in color are due to their different molecular structures, the way that they are arranged. Lithium and potassium have similar chemical properties. Anytime you see similar chemical properties, you need to be thinking the same group. And if they're in the same group, they're going to have the same number of valence electrons. At standard temperature pressure, which list of elements contains a solid, liquid, and gas? First of all, there's only 2 liquids on the periodic table. That would be mercury and bromine. So that means your middle choice has to be mercury or bromine. So that's either choice 1 or choice 3. Ba is a metal. It's to the left of the staircase. And hafnium is a metal. It's to the left of the staircase. A gas. All right, last position. Helium is a gas. It's a noble gas. Boron, B, in choice 3, is not a gas. It is a metal. So the answer is 1. All right, moving on. Elements with the atomic numbers 112 and 114 have been produced, and their IUPAC names are still pending approval. However, an element that would be put between these 2 elements on the periodic table has not yet been produced. If produced, the element would be identified by the symbol UUT until the IUPAC name is approved. So, if we were to draw the Lewis structure, that means that the element would be 113. If you look at your periodic table, this falls in group 13. All group 13 elements have 3 valence electrons, the last digit in their electron configuration. How do we draw a Lewis dot structure? We write the symbol, the chemical symbol, so in this case UUT, and the number of dots representing the number of valence electrons, in this case 3 dots. Determine the charge of a UUT nucleus. Well, there's only one thing in the nucleus that has a charge, protons. because neutrons are neutral, and we know that protons equals the atomic number, so that would be 113. It says include both the numerical value and the charge. So if you just write number 113 with no plus sign, you will not get credit. Make sure you're reading the directive. Identify one element that would be chemically similar to UUT. We've said this probably 5 times already. Chemically similar means same group, same valence electrons. So any other element in group 13 you could write and you would get credit for. I just happened to pick aluminum. Alright. In 1999, a nuclear chemist and his team announced they had discovered a new element by crashing krypton atoms into lead. The new element, 118, was assigned the name unoctium and the symbol UUO. One possible isotope of unoctium could have been UUO 291. However, the discovery of UUO was not confirmed because another scientist could not reproduce the experimental results published by the nuclear chemist and his team. In 2006, another team of scientists claimed they produced UUO. This claim has yet to be confirmed. Based on the atomic number, in which group on the periodic table would the element 118 be placed? Well, this would be group 18 if you're following in order of atomic number. What would be the total number of neutrons present in the theoretical atom of UUO 291? Well, the 291 represents the mass. They already told you the atomic number was 118. The difference between the atomic mass and the atomic number gives you the number of neutrons. So this would be 173. What would be the total number of electrons present in a theoretical atom of UUO 291? Remember that all atoms are electrically neutral. Therefore, the number of protons also equals the number of electrons, in this case 118. Explain why being able to reproduce scientific results is an important component of the scientific method and research. Reproducibility with similar results increases the validity and general acceptance by the scientific community. In other words, one trial could simply be a fluke or luck. So, here they're giving us a fictitious periodic table, so to speak. They're giving us lists of physical and chemical properties of 6 elements at standard temperature and pressure that correspond to known elements. You don't know what they are, but they're identifying these elements by the letters D, E, G, J, L, Q. So we have 6 elements. STP means 0 degrees Celsius, or 273 Kelvin, and 1 atmosphere. What's the total number of elements in the periodic table that's listed here that are solids? So remember, we talked about in class, when we're determining something is a metal or solid using table S, we compare it to 273. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Element D, melting point, negative 272. So if I'm at positive 273, this element already melted, so it's a liquid. J, melting point, negative 210. This is also a liquid. Element E, if I'm at 44 degrees melting point and standard temperature is 273, if I'm at 273, this also melted. It's a liquid. L, melting point, 64 degrees. Still not higher than 273. It already melted. It's a liquid. All right, element G. Melting point, 181. So if I'm at 273, this already melted. And let's see, Q, no, G, is that Q? Yes, Q. Melting point 98. Oh, these are all Celsius. And I'm comparing it to Kelvin. My mistake here. So let me go back then. All right, if I'm changing something, so let's compare the Celsius then. If I'm at 0 degrees Celsius, element D and J already melted. They're both liquids. If I'm comparing to Celsius, E, L, G, and Q have not melted yet, because if I'm at 0 Celsius, their melting points are above 0. My apologies. Sorry there. Got my Kelvin and Celsius confused. All right, so what is the total number of elements that are solids? Solids. Again, I put the wrong answer here because they want solids. So if I'm at solids, this is the wrong answer. Let me see if I can get a pen and cross that out. All right, so this is the wrong answer. So solids are going to be E because we're comparing it to Celsius. We have 4 solids, E, L, G, and Q. Because if I'm at 0, their melting points are above that. So they're still in the solid. So we've got 4. All right. Sorry about that. All right, moving on. Oh, it didn't save it. Hopefully you wrote it down. An atom of G in the ground state. What is the total number of valence electrons in this atom? So if we go up here and we look at G, it says it forms the oxide G2O. So what I'm trying to show you here is that the 2 in G2O came from up top. And there is a 1 that came from the G. So they're asking about an atom of element G. G is actually in group 1, right? And that's representing the 1 valence electrons that it has in its outermost shell. Letter Z corresponds to an element on the periodic table other than the 6 listed elements. Elements QL, Z are in the same group. Okay, G, Q, L, Z. They're in the same group. Okay, based on the trend of melting points listed, what would be a proposed melting point of Z? So let's look at G, Q, and L. So G melts at 181. Q melts at 98, so it's decreasing, GQ. L is 64. So you see that it's decreasing. Therefore, Z has got to be less than L. So I'm just writing 50 degrees. Any value that you write less than 64 would give you credit. Identify by code letter the element that is a noble gas in the 6 properties of standard tables up here. So which one is a gas? Well, the one that's going to gas is the one that's not going to form anything. So D is going to be a gas because there's no oxide formula. It means it doesn't want to form bonds with anything. And that ends our periodic table review.